Hello, I hope you're doing well. Welcome back to another weekly esports news episode. We hope you guys all enjoy. As always, all of today's stories will be timestamped down below in the description, but as always, let's get into it. And first off, of course, in big CSGO news for all you fans out there, the Faceit Major does continue. As of right now, we enter into day 3, so this will not be currently up to date because we do have matches going on as we speak, but some big surprises happening so far, as well as some big changes coming for other teams out there who are not involved with the Major. But first of all, I do have to talk about some of our huge surprises we've seen so far throughout day 1 and 2. The first of which, I guess you could say North going 0-2, a pretty big surprise there. Vegas Squadron also starting out 2-0, which is a huge surprise as well because they also had a very close match this morning. Unfortunately enough, losing in overtime to Team Liquid. It was actually Team Liquid alongside NIP against all odds, becoming our first 2 teams to go 3-0. So Team Liquid looking strong all the way throughout, but especially NIP. If you guys did see that crazy match this morning, it did go into quadruple overtime. NIP take out Astralis, and again, NIP alongside Liquid go 3-0. A couple of our 0-2 teams alongside North, we also have Virtus Pro, which is to really no big surprise there. Alongside them, Space Soldiers, who are of course playing with their coach Hardstyle, and again, definitely a tough thing to see over there for Space Soldiers, but they've had some close games. They almost hung on yesterday against Complexity. Complexity actually beating big this morning. So a lot of back and forth so far, and again, I'll give you guys updates hopefully by Monday, because this Sunday, guys, we will actually have this Challenger stage ending, and we will have our final 8 teams in the Challenger stage to join our final 8 teams in the Legendary stage for our Major starting next weekend. So again, some crazy matchups so far. The Faceit Major does continue with a lot of upsets, so feel free to watch that, guys, on Steam TV or Twitch. Is the CSGO Major going on today. On top of that, though, some other big changes out there. We actually had Valve finally responding to a VAC-banned account. That's actually going to be Robin. Unfortunately enough for him, though, it's 5 years later. Yes, so Valve being here, I guess you could say not very proactive. 5 years later, it was actually Robin who was VAC-banned in a separate game, but it was actually a Steam game back in 2013. He received this email this morning, and apparently he has finally been unbanned by Valve and their dev team, which is crazy to see that Robin was actually very delighted by this. He was very, of course, happy and enthused by this, but I think a lot of players out there would actually be very upset because it took them 5 years to unban this guy. So best of luck to him in the future. I know he's been playing with Team Endpoint, I do believe, and they've actually qualified for a few events out there that they can actually now play with him in official Valve tournaments. So some crazy news there, and hopefully this means maybe some progressive action in the future for iBuyPower players, although many of you guys are well aware that's probably not going to happen, but we can always hope as a community that maybe Valve does some other great things out there. And alongside that, very lastly, just announced this morning was OpTic Gaming's 3rd CSGO team. Now I think alongside teams like maybe an LDLC, maybe even not them, with their white and blue teams in their main roster, this might be one of the first organizations in CSGO history to now announce their 3rd active CSGO roster. If you guys do remember, of course, their current roster in the Major right now on the whims of actually making that Legendary stage, but still have a pretty solid chance, or at least a fighting chance at making that. And alongside that, they have their All-Indian roster they announced a couple months ago, and now officially this morning, guys, the most diverse CSGO organization with now 3 active rosters. OpTic Gaming does become that. They announced their all-female Brazilian roster, and I never in a million years, if you guys remember, OpTic Gaming at their start was a North American organization back in the Mixwell days, or even the Nafly days. People like Rush along them, they then go European for their main roster, so they have a full European main roster, they have an all-Indian male roster, and now an all-Brazilian female roster. I don't know what they're doing, but I do enjoy it, guys. The most diversified organization in CSGO is now OpTic Gaming. And speaking of OpTic Gaming, guys, we actually have official disbandment of that team. We announced that last episode. It was probably going to happen. CCNC, several rumors out there, but it's actually been confirmed by OpTic themselves. They've released their Dota 2 roster. Now, CCNC, it does seem, according to rumors, he's going to go and try and mid with some of their team out there. Will it be a Tier 1 roster? Will it be a Tier 2 roster? Can he actually hang in that mid lane is a real big question going forward, but it seems he's the first to depart that roster, and the roster has all gone separate ways. 33 and PPD, though, will be staying together. It's actually a very unique, I guess you could say, roster so far announced by PPD on his Twitter. They're actually going to have Staxa, probably going to be the big mystery ball of that lineup. On top of that, though, they pick up some secret players, and that's going to be Faceit alongside Ace. So definitely, you would say, on paper, a big improvement for that roster, at least a step up from their old roster, but how they're going to do in competitive play, I'm very curious, and who will pick them up, again, is going to be a huge question. Definitely going to be some interest in these guys. Will it be a Mouse Sports? Will it be another established organization? I cannot wait to see who it is. But on top of that, no surprise, as Team Secret, of course, do lose Faceit and Ace to PPD's new roster. They will actually have their announcement next Tuesday for their brand new roster. And also in some subtle news as well, we actually have Team Empire finally actually announcing their full roster. And very lastly as well, we actually have TNC this morning replacing finally Raven and Sam H, and that will be Ninja Boogie alongside Gabby. We've had a couple players on the come up right now, Gabby being one of them, to be a bit of a question mark for these teams, but they've actually replaced them on TNC in some big news. But also on top of that, in some very big news for the DPC circuit, guys, we have our official schedule has been released. So for the same major and minor schedule, it should be a very, very fun circuit. The thing we are still waiting on, of course, are locations. But on top of that, the points system has actually changed this year. It's going to be very big. The points will go to teams and not to individual players. And that does mean by the end of DPC, if these players have a significant number of points and they're kicked from a team or an organization can really screw over these players. And that's a huge change coming to DPC this year. I still can't wait to see how this actually affects some players. There have been known, of course, in Dota 2 history to be very late changes in these teams. And if those teams will keep those players' points, these players can really be held accountable for that and actually held almost hostage on these teams. But also, very lastly, guys, we actually have all rosters due the 15th next week. So expect some big changes coming soon. Again, a lot of incomplete rosters out there, even more rosters without teams even being signed so far. So some big changes coming by next week, guys. By the 15th, all of these teams will be due for Dota 2. And in very big Fortnite news, I'm sure many of you guys are very happy to see this. We actually had TFUE surpass Ninja for the first time, I think, almost ever in the Fortnite history so far in viewership. That's, of course, because he's finally returned from his Twitch ban, alleged due to a racist chat, which, again, it probably was not deserved, but his chat was definitely pretty toxic. We'll not get into that subject, but I think a lot of us agree that it was very unfair for him to be banned for 2 full weeks. He has now returned, guys, to Twitch streaming. I'm not sure about updates on his YouTube account. We'll have that by Monday for all of you guys, but he is now back officially, so congratulations. He's back right in time for patch V.54. So going to be cool to see how this patch actually affects things, because it's probably a patch that brought one of the biggest game-changing items we have seen ever since the drum guns released a couple months ago. And I mean this because the Grappler is now here. It comes in stacks of 15, which I thought would be a bit high at first, but it seems how fast you can actually use these actual units itself. The 15 count is probably good for a clip for the Grappler. We've already seen so many clips. I was watching Ninja's stream last night, and he was already getting very used to it. I think a few moments and a few of the times you actually take fall damage, so you got to be pretty careful with the Grappler, but it's a great way to take high ground, and I cannot wait to see this in competitive play, guys. And alongside that, for 5.4, some very minor changes, some other things out there. Semi-automatic snipers along with suppressed pistols and dualies are all more common, and alongside that, we actually have explosives being more rare. So I guess some minor changes there and some rarities for some items out there. We've also finally vaulted the revolvers. So for all of you guys who are sad about that, well, I'm sure there's not many of you guys out there, but the new vaulted weapon will be revolvers this time around, which could mean a new weapon in the future. But as we've seen so far, when they add something like the Grappler, they take away a weapon or an item like the revolver. So we're going to see what new weapons are in store so far, but I cannot wait for competitive play, and I will have competitive play updates for you guys come Monday. We've had many rumors out there about maybe a Friday Fortnite return, maybe some other players out there returning to competitive scenes in Fortnite itself. So I cannot wait for big announcements, guys, coming sometime soon. And also in very big announcements, Fortnite Monopoly is now available, so get your orders in there. And of course, in very big news, we have so many big things going on in esports, especially alongside CSGO and the Dota 2 changes. The Overwatch roster mania does continue, but for League of Legends, of course, we have the grand finals of playoffs this weekend. It will be Cloud9 versus Team Liquid, and alongside that, Schalke sneaking into the finals. I say sneaking in. They looked very dominant throughout quarters and semis. I just voted against them, so I'm a bit disappointed about that. They'll face off against Fnatic, and I will give you guys my quick predictions here. We went 1-3 for quarterfinals. We went 2-2 semifinals, and we're going to go 2-0 here, guys. I got to keep on the hype train. I will be taking, like I said last episode, Cloud9 over Team Liquid. It'll go to Game 5, though. That's what I'm really hoping for. I'm not really, caring who wins as long as we get a Game 5 out of that, and I do think Fnatic should take down Schalke quite easily, as well as Youngbuck. If you guys do know Fnatic's manager, he did say, he actually came out in an interview, I believe, with Cybersport last night. I love the confidence. He did say they're going to win Worlds. They're going all the way, so I love the confidence, guys. It's not quite Worlds, but I don't think Schalke is really Worlds material either, so I think Fnatic take down Schalke 3-1, if not 3-0. It should be an easy series there, and Reckless will be in that roster once again. Now, on top of that as well, we also have a very cool quality of life update for all you junglers. I think a few people out there were a bit scared when it was first announced. It's actually Riot employee Maple Nectar taken to the forums, and we should see for our next patch, which does come, we believe, before Worlds, so it should be active before Worlds does come around here in a few weeks, guys, and it will be apparently automatically picking a summoner spell, that being Smite, for all the junglers out there, but you can still swap. So I think when it was first announced, people thought, oh my gosh, junglers are defaulted to Smite and they can't swap out another summoner spell. You can still swap it, guys, but a lot of junglers out there forget their smite summoner, so it will be now a default option for all junglers, allegedly in next patch, which would be a great quality of life update for all you junglers out there. Now, also, very lastly, great news for all you content creators for League of Legends. I guess ourselves included, are much smaller content creators. Hopefully, will be helped out by this. It's a League of Legends or the Riot Partner Program. If you guys have seen this, partner giveaways, content promotion, event invites, and so much more, and also rewards for all you content creators. I'll leave a link down below for all of you guys who do create League of Legends videos or even live streams itself. It's going to be a great thing. We don't see this in too many communities out there where an actual organization like Riot takes the time out of their day to actually help their content creators, and definitely a move in the right direction, like this whole case against them we've seen these past few weeks. Definitely making the right moves here. Hopefully, though, it helps the smaller creators as well as the big creators. And Overwatch news out there, we do the Los Angeles qualifier. If you guys are keeping track of that, it should be USA and Team Canada the favorites to go through here. We actually have 2 more qualifiers in the upcoming weeks as well for the Overwatch World Cup. And XQC has been confirmed. We already talked about this in the past. He will be playing with Team Canada. And again, Team Canada and USA should be your favorites. Also, a quick reminder for Team USA, guys, the 18-year-old Zachary is likely one of the youngest actual players competing this weekend in Overwatch World Cup. A quick reminder, he'll actually be competing in this Los Angeles stage qualifier, and alongside that, also the contenders stage. If you guys do know, the grand finals of a contender stage is going on this weekend, and he'll be playing alongside the Philly Fusion over there. So he has a pretty packed weekend for young Zachary, and a great up-and-coming talent, guys. I cannot wait to see how he plays it out. But also in huge news for all you Overwatch League fans out there, as we approach, of course, Season 2, I cannot wait for it. We actually have our 8 new cities confirmed. There are no team names, no team rosters, but again, that's going to be a packed episode when these teams and their rosters do come out, guys. As you can imagine, we have 8 brand new cities. A few of these were actually leaked before, and I do apologize, guys, for my actual pronunciation. I'm going to try and name these off for you guys as well as show you the pictures. We do have Hangzhou, Chengdu, alongside that Guangzhou being our first 3 cities, and our next 5, guys, will be Paris. Alongside them, we actually had Toronto, Washington, Atlanta, and to finish it off, guys, Vancouver. I believe it was actually Guangzhou, Vancouver, and Atlanta were the 3 cities we knew were coming, but 8 new cities, guys, 8 new teams, and 8 brand new rosters. I cannot wait. That's going to be a packed episode. Hopefully sometime next week we see those rosters start to form, if not in the coming few weeks or so. Overwatch news, guys, it's been crazy. The roster mania does continue. Overwatch League World Cup qualifiers continue this weekend. There's some crazy things going on in the Overwatch scene. And also, very lastly, in our shortest news segment today, Rocket League news. There's not too much out there. You guys saw Rocket Pass earlier this week, and alongside that, we had the new club update, a new great big update last week. So we're lacking in news today, but hopefully more by next week, guys, as RLCS does start this weekend. So we're going to be doing match breakdowns, or at least match results in our next coming up episodes as well. And it will be RLCS, of course, Season 6 starting for the $1 million prize pool the next 5 weeks, guys. And every team competing has just about 7 best of 5s to prove themselves worthy of playoffs. I guess going forward, we can make some predictions here for North America. You got to choose probably Cloud9, coming off some rival summer series victories, and also just some big hype over there for Squishy Muffins in the squad. You got to choose people like Cloud9 or G2 to be your favorites. Also competing in Universal Season 2. Alongside them for the European side, you got to pick teams like Dignitas, maybe followed out by maybe a Complexity, or maybe just falling short of that qualifier for Universal Season 2. I would say Fnatic looking pretty good as well. Some great teams going to be competing, guys, and all matchups will be best of 5s. I cannot wait. Our first $1 million season is here, and we're going to be seeing some very top play out of our Rocket League guys. So hope you guys all enjoy this Friday episode of Esports News. If you guys did, feel free to leave a comment down below. I will see you all back here Monday. We got a crazy weekend ahead of us, guys. Lots of events going on, and I will break it down here on Monday's episode. As always, my name is Jake. I'll see y'all then. Goodbye.